So the other day I got an email from Nelnet talking about better ways to look at information regarding my student loans, so on and so forth. And I just shook my head and I just wanted to say, leave me the hell alone. Leave me alone. Like, I wish this all just go away. Rain, go away. Right? And we know Joe Biden promised that and it ain't gonna come through. You know what I'm saying? It's not looking like it's gonna come through at all. And so you have a lot of young people talking about loan forgiveness and why it is important to our generation on social media. But then you have the older generation providing pushback against loan forgiveness. Not everybody, right? But there is a segment of people providing pushback or talking against loan forgiveness. And I just don't understand it for the life of me, right? I can't believe it's people in life who are that miserable, lonely, and hateful to be against loan forgiveness, right? In the economy that we live in today, this inflated economy, where eggs is 10 damn dollars. At one point, eggs was $10. You got people talking about they against loan forgiveness, pay them loans back. We had to do it. Y'all got to do it too. We had to pay back our loans. Be a responsible adult and pay back those loans. Be the responsible adult you're supposed to be. You read the fine print, signed off on it. Pay back what you owe. Man, listen, nothing irks me more than people who believe the younger generation should be subjected to overly harsh conditions that they faced when they was younger, right? When they were younger. Me as an adult, I'm 30 years old now. There are certain hardships and things that I went through that I don't want my children to have to go through. I don't think that they have to, in order to be a better person, they need to be drowning in debt. In order to be a responsible person, they need to be going broke every time they get a paycheck to pay back some student loans. I don't believe in it, right? As you get older, I think you should want better for your children, your grandchildren, great-grandchildren, nieces, nephews, and even people who are outside of your family. You should want better for young people in general, right? And see, what's crazy is that college is way more expensive than it ever was. It's way more expensive than it was when our parents, grandparents, great uncles, great aunts, when they went to school. Like, do you know people? You got people who went to school and paid through college, right? With the tips they got from working at the local pizza joint. You got people who paid through college while working at the local record store. And them same people calling people who took out loans when college was more expensive, calling us irresponsible for not wanting to pay back these loans now. It's crazy to me, man. Like, I don't know, man. Again, people, moms and fathers and grandparents paid through school working at McDonald's. Like, what the hell? That shit is unheard of now. Older generations brag about paying their way through college by being a lifeguard or some crazy off the wall shit. I mean, not off the wall. Okay, lifeguard is a needed job. I'm not trying to clown the job. What I'm saying is that, like, what? You can pay a sniff of your student loans back by working as a lifeguard now, at all. And I tell them when they be talking all that, well, I paid through school and all that, I be looking at them like, yeah, you went to school when college was $100 a semester, decades ago. Decades ago, man. Again, our parents and society as a whole told us that society told us that we had to go to college. That was the only way to be successful in life. And if we didn't go to college, we would be losers on the street. We wouldn't have any type of prosperity in our life in order to have the quote unquote American dream, right? To have the riches, not even just riches, to have a great a life where you can provide for your family and all of that. They're like, you gotta go to college, right? We were told that in order to be able to achieve anything close to wealth or any of the sort, we had to go get that piece of paper called a degree from a university, right? We were literally told we wouldn't be hired for high-paying jobs without going to college. So they then told us to take out these loans to pay for school, and they told us that we would get well-paying jobs and be able to pay them back. Now look at what's happened today. Now fast forward to today. We're not getting the jobs in our majors because we don't have enough experience. We're being told we don't have the experience to be into these positions, right? And then the jobs in our majors start at a very, very low rate. And with the economy that we're living in, You can't survive and pay back these loans working them little bitty low paying jobs like that. You can't. Jobs paying you 16 an hour, 17 an hour, or 20, 22 an hour. You got a whole master's degree. What student loans you paying back from 22 an hour and also paying for a standard of living? How? Again, I talk about going to grocery stores and people out here window shopping. They're not qualifying for food stamps. You're making a certain amount of money, right? But it's not enough to also live great, not great, but live at least adequately and pay back student loans at the same time. You can't do it with these low-paying jobs that people have. These jobs ain't improving the salary to match the higher cost of living at all. So it's a whole bunch of madness. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, we can't pay the loans the student loans back and survive at the same time. You know, so now the people who told us to take out the loans are watching the prices of eggs go to $10, right? And seeing the economy become inflated, and they're telling us, we don't care. We don't care about the stuff that's going on in society. Pay them loans back. Be a responsible adult. Stand on what you said you were going to do and be responsible. Yeah, bro, we want to. We want to. But how are we going to live out here? How? How are we going to live and function properly? You know what I mean? Again, people telling us you read the fine print. You need to pay those loans back. Again, after we were almost forced into a position to go to college, right? Now, nobody put a gun to our head and told us to go to school. But again, you people, I'm 30 years old. Y'all remember being told horror stories about what would happen to your life if you didn't go to college. We were taught people who didn't go to college were basically losers, right? Like they were irresponsible people who weren't going to make it in life. They weren't going to be able to have a house. They weren't going to be able to take care of their families that they would create one day. All of that stuff is what we heard. So be like, okay, man, we got to go take out these loans. And then some people going to be like, well, get you a scholarship. One, everybody isn't athletically inclined and just great at athletics to get these scholarships in these revenue generating sports, because you get full scholarships in revenue generating sports for real. Football and basketball, let's be honest. Most of the full scholarships come from that. And academics, I had a full academic scholarship to college. But guess what? I needed a loan to take out for books. I needed a loan to go to grad school because I knew I was not going to be able to find a job to support me adequately to live good without having another degree under my belt, so that I can ensure I'm paid at least something decent at least, right? I had to go to grad school. So you know that piled on the loans for sure. Had to take out this loan, that loan, and like all of those things. So even with me having a full academic scholarship, had to get a scholarship to pay for books and had to go to grad school so I can at least be not functional, but at least be able to maintain on my own in the society, in the economy that we living in today, right? And again, it's going to be crazy one day. I'm telling you, it's going to be a crazy day when the whole generation who call us irresponsible are stuck in terrible retirement homes because none of their children can afford to help with better elderly care, right? Or they don't own a home big enough to fit their father and mother when they become older in age and they can't take care of themselves, right? Some of us don't own these houses, the big houses, to be able to have room for our parents along with our children. And then what, right? And we're not going to be able to afford those things because of a bigger house, because we got to pay back these student loans that are outrageous. So mom and dad got to go to a retirement home because the young generation don't have the money to have a bigger house for them to accommodate their parents. You know what I'm saying? Because we're paying back these loans that are crazy, man. Again, the rising cost of tuition, these predatory rates on these loans, along with the horrible job market, these things were never discussed with us when we were told to take out these loans and go to college. Nobody talked about, again, the rising cost of tuition, predatory interest rates on loans, or the horrible job market that we would be graduating into. Right? We walking into corporate America, this horrible job market out here. You know, I remember when the pandemic, you know, when everybody could go and get jobs and all of that type of stuff, when not the pandemic, when restrictions were not overturned, but yeah, restrictions were lifted. Restrictions were lifted, and people was like, "Well, there's plenty of jobs out here. People just don't want to work." Fam, nobody finna work for no 16 an hour. Not when they got a degree. Nobody trying to work for no 20 an hour. When they got several degrees, they degreed up. What? So what? You know, again, we were never told about these things when they told us to take out these loans. Job market trash. You can't even get an interview. You know how they write keywords and certain stuff, and you trying to put the keywords in. Your application not getting pulled on none of these websites. None of that, man. The young people of America were hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out lied to, deceived. Flat out deceived. And you got people who are against, oh, they need the loan forgiveness. We didn't have that back in my day. So make it a thing now. I don't want my kids to have to, like what? I want my kids to go to school for free. I want them not to have to pay these high student loans off. I don't want that for my children. I don't want that for my nieces and nephews. I don't want that for my best friend's children. I don't want that for his little brothers and sisters at all, man. You again, just because you went through something, I went through something, I have enough empathy to say, you know what? I wouldn't want anybody else to endure certain hardships that we may have to go through. And again, I didn't go through any of the stuff that some of our ancestors went through, right? But again, as time goes on and you see certain things that are a problem, certain things wrong with education and the loan setup, student loans and all of that, when you see things wrong with these things, you see predatory behavior regarding student loans and all of that, you don't wish that on anybody. And again, I could be paid off all my student loans. I could have done all of that. I don't give a damn if I paid it off. Okay, cool. I did that. But guess what? I recognize it's still hard to do it. I recognize it's a hard battle for people to fight. I recognize that this is something that a lot of people can't afford. I recognize that it's something that shouldn't be around in the first place. These crazy expensive, crazy wild rates on these loans and all that, just for your kid to go to school and be able to be qualified to work in these jobs that we were taught would pay us all this money. We thought you're gonna get all these riches. Fact of the matter is, man, like now a master's degree is like a bachelor's degree now. A doctorate is like the doctorate is like the master's now. So I don't get people who are against loan forgiveness. It needs to be enacted. Seriously, man. And because the debt is piling up, the cost of living is piling up, and you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. People would rather stay in debt and have a roof over their head than to be paying back some student loans, and then your kids don't have that much to eat in the house. You don't have that much to eat in the house. They need things for school, right? They got to pay for this, got to pay for that. You got to pay for, it's just, come on, man. I don't get how people can be against loan forgiveness unless you just a miserable person. You're a miserable person if you're against that. Because again, it's certain things that I could go through. Listen, I grew up in Chicago, Southside Chicago, and I had to walk through gang members and all of that. I had to deal with all type of little stuff going on the bus and all of that. Just because I did it, don't mean I don't want my kids to have to go through that. I don't want my kids to have to endure certain things and certain type of fears that I had growing up. I don't. I want them to know a responsibility, but this is more than responsibility. This is predatory behavior. And this is a situation where people, again, it puts people in debt, and it puts them in a hard spot. Because you got to pay the lights, the rent, the gas, water, then the student loan, then Sally Mae knocking on the door. Then you need groceries, stuff getting higher, gas getting higher. Like, what are we going to do? Come on, man. Seriously, what are we going to do? God forbid it happens to a person who is used to having a spouse in the house and that person passes away or something like that. Then what? And they can have a good job and still it's hard to hold down all these things with Sally Mae knocking at the door too, wanting you to pay an arm and 4 legs for the degree that they told you you had to get to be successful in this world. Come out here, can't even get a job or get paid at the rate that I thought I was going to get. I ain't got enough experience. I was going through school. Like, it's crazy out here. Machiavelli Mills TV, I'm out. Peace.